Well, Farmall won't start for the first time, like ever, but it has rained and rained and rained. And usually if I forget to put the cap on the, which is a Bush's Best Baked Beans cap or a chili lid. Anyway, if I forget, usually it gets a wet cylinder, but it always starts. But the day I took it apart, or pulled the spark plug out to see if they were water soaked, and saw that. So I wonder if it's due for tune-up, maybe? I don't know. That's not too awful crusty. I don't know if I've ever seen worse, but there you go. I pulled all 6 of these wonderful little beauties out, and I want you guys to see each and every one for its glamour shot. And we're going to take number 6 and have you take a gander at that. I don't know about you. Well, that's kind of a gap, so that probably sparked a little, but I'd have to say that that one needs to be replaced. Not sure. Clean them up. I'll have to for today because I need it to run. But then we're gonna look at this one. Another fine. You know, I gotta say one thing for Champion spark plugs: they just won't give up the ghost until it's complete utter failure. But I mean, even the porcelain insulators are just trashed. That is lucky number 3. Well, that one kind of has a gap. Number 4. Yeah, my phone is focusing because, yeah, that's just gamey. And number 5, which I'm not sure what that's just, insulator's just trashed. And then the spark plug itself is in excellent condition, as you can see. And let's see, go for the, can you actually see some, oh, look at that, it's almost got a gap. Maybe it was arcing somewhere. This one here actually does have a gap if you get the light shining on it just right. But yeah. Now the problem is, where the hell am I going to find some D16 Champions in Rochester, Minnesota? That's not a normal stocking spark plug. I would assume damn near everywhere. Oh yeah, and you gotta make a special socket, so there was machining on the grinding wheel. Farmalls, damn it. So yeah, there's that. Then close inspection on the sparking wires. These are boots optional. Yeah, so those are in excellent shape. The cap looks like crap too on the inside, but it's not wet or anything. So, and I'm sure the points are lovely. which is probably the problem when it all comes down to it. But the spark plugs being the way they are, there's no way it's going to run. So, but you know, this cap's been on here for a long time. These spark plugs wires, I know a Mercury outboard I could steal some 6-cylinder spark plug wires from. Yeah, Tony. Well, let's get new ones anyway. So, but that would be hilarious. Mercury, first of all, Chevy spark plug wires on a Mercury outboard that got moved to a Farmall. I think that just sounds too cool for school. So there's that. And yeah, so that's how my Monday started. How's yours? Cat. Yeah, well, anyway, you guys should like and subscribe to all the carnage that we come into around here. It's always one thing after another. You got to do 3 things to do one thing. That's what my girlfriend always told me. She was real. I still can't get over that one. That's just somewhat fucking amazing. Oh, I have to bleep that. Okay, bleep. That's as close as you're getting, because that's how I talk. I don't know. I'm going to have to pick my favorite. Actually, what I'm going to do is take these to a wire wheel, and I'm going to clean them up as good as I can clean them up, and they're going to have to do for today until I can get some plug wires. But I would have to say it's time for the old girl to get a full top end tune-up. Plug, spark plugs and wires and distributor cap, rotor, points, condenser. Just do it all. I mean, it's not that expensive. I think it's like 50 to 75 bucks and you get the whole thing. So I have to call up yesterday's tractor, I guess. But that's how Monday started. How's yours? Oh yeah, do that like button thing with your finger. And don't forget to subscribe. Yeah, okay, well, you've seen the nasty sparking devices when they were outside, and this is after I cleaned them on the wire wheel and, well, actually put them through parts washer solvent, cleaned them, dug all the crap out of there in the hook, and point filed the end of the electrode and the underside electrode and reset the gap. So that pretty much did that to all of these, as you can see. Believe it or not, there was a store in town that had Autolite spark plugs, and I'm not putting Ford stuff in a Farmall. Just not going to happen. They did have NGKs, he said, too, but they were twice the money. So I'm just going to order a tune-up kit, and we'll see if we can get this old girl to fire up. This is 100 times better than what was in there, so we'll see what happens. I'm going to go out and spin them bad boys in and see if we can get some fire in the hole. Well, so I got all the sparking devices located back in there and cleaned them up. And another little tech tip, when you're putting spark plugs in these, if you're really just trying to get this thing up and running, and it's greasy and slimy, because these little holes down here, they just harbor so much gook that you should clean them out. Take a screwdriver, clean them out. But if you're in a hurry, like me, when you put the plug in, make sure the electrode on the end of the plug is pointing upward. That way, if you do drag some snot in there, it'll blow right off there and not plug the gap of the spark plug. Little tech tip there on that. Another thing, when you got the plugs all out, you need to check spark. Well, another thing I'm going to show you here is that's a ballast resistor. And if you don't have spark, you either got one or two problems. You don't have power going through this, or your point gap is a problem, or your condenser is grounded. So there's 3 potential problems there. Easily tested. If you got power going through the ballast resistor on both sides, then that's good to go. Or you happen to grab the coil and it's toasty warm because you got stupid and left the key on, and we won't talk about that. As far as points, you know, they can get corroded and won't spark. Moisture dependent. So I'm not sure what's going on with this at the moment, but we're going to try to light this thing off now and see. Now we're doing about the same thing. I'm thinking it got some water in the fuel. Well, that's something. Yeah. I love the smoke rings. Oh, soot. Oh my God. Crap that's blowing out of the cylinders is crazy. Back to roll itself. Well, it could have been some water contamination in here. I don't know if you can even hear me. Could have been some water contamination in the fuel. Possibly down the chimney. I did spin it over and nothing went whoosh whoosh out the cylinders, but I don't know. She's all loaded up, but it's running really good considering those spark plugs are completely junk. But that's the difference right there. Cleaning them spark plugs gave it good spark, and that's why it's blowing chunks of stuff out there. And seriously, it was blowing pieces of carbon out of the stack. So that's can't wait to pull a head off this someday, but that's going to tell a story. Too bad these intakes aren't in such a way that you can pour water in them, you know, like a car and clean the combustion chamber. You can't do that with these because the carburetor's hung below down here, and it draws the fuel up and in the cylinder. So there's no way you could do that like you can a car and clean a combustion chamber. Maybe some kind of combustion chamber cleaner, but I don't know. She sounds good. She runs good. I'll be going to let this go for a while. Order a complete tune-up kit. Wires, cap, points, condenser, spark plugs, everything, and replace it all. So, but give it some maintenance it needs. So, I just wanted this to be a short little thing. So we're going to kick this off, and I showed you what I needed to show you as far as cleaning the spark plugs. Now I get back to doing fun things, like tearing up old Mercuries. Another will it run. Well, we're back. This is a 1962 Merc 850, 85 horse. I talked in the last video about the other outboard, which was a 90 cubic inch motor. This is a 76 cubic inch motor, and this is the last year that they were the 76 cubic inch motor, because in 1963 they all changed over to the 90 cubic inch motor, put smaller carburetors on them, thus creating the 85 horse, and bigger carburetors creating the 100 horse. So the two power heads were exactly the same, and PKfer could just make many in the assembly line process that were the same versus having different ones for different sizes. He learned the lesson that one size fits all. And so, but what this has in common is this has something in common with another motor, which is the Merc 800, which was the step up from the Merc 700, and the Merc 800 started, I believe, in 1960, I think, or 61. 60, I think it was 1960 actually, with the direct drives, and then in 1961 they were direct drive and full gear shift. And I believe that's the 800, but they were 76 cubic inch motor. So you can use these in a Merc 800. This power head will bolt right in, and it's just the same. Actually, the 90 cubic inch will bolt in here too, but the exhaust stinger is a little bit different between the 85 horse and the 100 horse, which is understandable. This is going to be parts for the Frankenmerc, but we still need to know what's going on with this motor. Does it have compression? Will it run? You know, there's a lot of things, because this power head might find its way into some other project down the road, and it's good to have them tagged with what the compression test was for your baseline. Again, cylinder leak down test is your best test for your, but when you're talking about an engine that sat for so many years, baseline compression, if you got like, even if it's 100 straight down with a completely dry motor that hasn't run for years, you know, and the rings are all set or stuck in the pistons and stuff, even if it's 100, 100, 100, 100, but if it's 100 and one of them's 70 or 50 or something, or 0, well, then your power head's cooked, you know, and you got to rebuild it. So the idea is just to do these tests to find a baseline on, will it live? Can I work with it? Will it run? Can I use it in another project? So on there, the Frankenmerc needs from here to here. Okay, the one that I'm building. So it needs this midsection. Now this top is all scun up here. This is all scraped up, so we probably won't be using this. We'll use the black one. This wraparound is incredibly straight, although it looks crappy, but it's incredibly straight. I'm definitely going to use that one. This faceplate, Tony wanted the 64 faceplate because there's differences in those. The 62 faceplate is completely different, but he wanted to use this faceplate. And this is not in the best of shape, but it's not dented and it does look fairly shiny. These decals, he's got all new decals for it too. So this has all got to be cleaned up, and I think I have other ones of these, but Merc 850, okay? So that's got to be there. So this is the one that he picked, so we're going to run with it. Now we're going to take this cover off and see what's going on in here. And maybe this isn't even going to be a runner. I don't know. I don't remember. Been around here for decades. Maybe it's already had parts robbed off of it. And it's definitely got water in the cowling from some direction. It did rain recently. And it looks like somebody's, I don't know why, I thought these were angle boot. That's what I thought these were supposed to be. But this does look like factory plug wires, so we're going to find out. Yep, they're factory plug wires. They're not pulling out like small block Chevy stuff. So they are screwed into the distributor cap, so these are just been replaced at some point in its life. Everything looks reasonably complete, except some things are disconnected here. We don't have a starter solenoid, so that's going to kind of put a whole kibosh on everything going forward here. So we're probably going to have to revisit this another time. The other thing I wanted to check, remember I showed you in the other video, and I'd have to, there's the part to the engine here, that little tab that the factory puts on through one of the case bolts, that has never been removed on this one too, so this block has never been rebuilt. As far as the gas lines and the pumps and coils and starter and all that stuff, it all looks fairly good. I'm not sure if I can get my hand in here to turn the crankshaft or not. Because if I can reach up here, I might be able to. Yep, motor rotates, so it's not stuck. So that's a good sign. Well, I'm going to have to come up with a starter drive, or starter solenoid, excuse me, for one of these and get that hooked on here, because at some point somebody robbed that off of there. So I really can't go any further until that happens, because that's kind of an important thing. I'll have to come back with that. Also, these pins are in really clean condition, and the last time I put this on here on the other motor, the electric choke didn't work. So we're going to slide this on here. And yes, that's how you do it. And then you put that down in there so that stays nice. Well hooked up to that. And I don't believe that that's even hooked up either. No, the choke is not even hooked up. That should go over here to this wire here. So there's some things that are missing going on here that have been robbed off this motor. So there's not much we can really do with it. Maybe I should just knock it in the head. Oh, another thing I'm going to point out too is this has the older rectifier on this. I don't know if you can see that very well, but there's, I'll just do this now. There's an older rectifier. This is the old style rectifier versus the new one, newer one, and it started in, I believe, 62. Looks quite a bit different. As a matter of fact, there's a 1962 Mercury right over there. So, but the 76 cubic, oh, that's really, I don't think that start rope's supposed to be back here on this side of the motor. Huh. Evidently that got pulled out and the recoil doesn't recoil. It looks complete otherwise, so I don't know what I'm going to do with this. If I can find a starter solenoid in the shop, I'm going to probably throw that on there and see what's going to go on, and we'll have to come back to this. But meanwhile, well, here's another one right here. But this is a 63. And so another way you can tell a 62 and a 63 apart from one another. In 1963, Keycafer started with the Guild gear case. In 1962, the water pickup was on back here, on the back of the prop, which I don't know if we got one of them with the gear case on it that I do have in this other shop. I have a bunch, actually, because they're really hard to come by. And, okay, that's 65. Then 65, 65. I don't know that I have any 62s out here. Okay, but this is a good point. These two right here are 1961 76 cubic inch 80 horse. And that guy on the end is 1961. How do you know 1961? It was the only year they used the metal script for Mercury. And I think these are so cool. And that's why I have 3 of them, and all 3 of them are cooked. I mean, really cooked. These are direct drives. The only thing this has got going for them is I do have, they were going to be on a Power Cat that I had years ago, and I have a right hand gear case and a left hand gear case. So that would have been cool. And so that gear case is just going to go with the other one, and I'm probably going to just take the top tower off. The blocks are stuck. I'm sure if there's anything good, you know, most of the, you know, I mean, this is all mangled to shit, so I'll throw that away. Basically, they're going to get scrapped. Unless somebody comes forward and wants to buy them and has power heads they want to put in them, they'll sell them. But they're going to pay dearly for the 2 gear cases. So, because right hand rotating gear case, there's not even the parts around to even fix one of those anymore. I don't have anything handy. Actually, I do. This 61 was still picking up the water in the back. So there's little fins. See if I can show you here. There's little fins right here, and that's what picked up the water, and it went up here through a tube up to the water pump. Okay, so that's where it got its water. So they picked up in 63, they went to the Guild gear case because these were blowing up motors the way they were doing it. They went to the Guild gear case, and this is a direct path directly to the water pump. And worked much better. Stopped blowing up power heads. And then, of course, you know, Mercury continued with the Guild gear case for decades. So that's kind of how that is. As a matter of fact, I believe this one's the same way. Yeah, this one's the same way too. This is a direct drive. So early on, this is how, and OMC did this too. They picked up the water behind the prop. It was thinking that the prop was going to force the water in there and it was all going to be good. Well, if you trim it up, guess what? Nope. It starves it. And then it goes boom. This is a 1962 Merc 1000. And how you tell the difference between a 1962 and a 1963 is so easy. Because in 1962, that piece was metal, not aluminum, and it was chromed. So there's the difference between 1962 and 1963. 1960, and of course these are really old. These are 1958. These are known as turtle tops. For those of you that don't know that, that's the nickname they all got. This is a short shaft as well. And I'm not sure of its fate, but I'm sure someone's going to buy it, and either before I restore it or after I restore it, and they're probably going to take it and put it someplace on a shelf. They're extremely, extremely hard to come by. The 62s are almost next to impossible to find. And that is the first year for Phantom Black Mercury. It was the first motor painted that way, and it's the first 100 horse in production in the United States as well. So it was a pretty pivotal moment for Mercury. And so that's the holy grail motor right there, and the 6 cylinders to have those. And I have, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 of them, maybe 5, not sure. I know I have one in my showroom that's a short shaft as well, and that one's complete and was running an ongoing concern. So not restored, but someday I'll get to it. Let's see, what else is there that's of interest in the Gigantum window? See, as you can see, I collect the inline 6s. Okay, I have various from 1962 through, oh my god, 1968 now. I have one 135 that I really, really like. It's really a nasty, nasty little thing. So we talked about the blocks, okay? All these 6 cylinders are all Tiger blocks, all right? Then came, in the 125, came the Typhoon block. And then in 1970, I believe, yeah, 1970, they came out with the T1 block, okay? Which, that was just a different thing. All the 4 cylinders in this general era that I just love. I love the 66 things. I love the foil type thing. But this is a 1966 65 horse. That is a 1965 65 horse, both short shaft. These are both Panther block motors, and they just run like a banshee. I really love Merc 4 cylinders over an OMC. I'll take this all day, every day, for dependability and just all out performance. The V4, I'm not going to take nothing away from the old ones. They got a unique sound. They're just not very powerful. You can't compare the two. Actually, the one that'll put them all to shame is, believe it or not, the pissed off chainsaw with the prop. And that is these McCullochs. These things, everybody complained about them. Oh, they're junk. They never run right. Well, if you tune them right, they haul the mail. They just scream. This 3-cylinder, you match that up against a 3-cylinder Mercury or a 3-cylinder. Actually, you can put that up against a 100-horse 6-cylinder, and it'll walk away from the 100-horse. How do I know? I have a boat that I did that with. I whooped a guy on a Glastron with a 115 with a 75 horse on an aluminum Starcraft. But I have a lot of the Scots. I really like them. They're fun to play with. Problem is, I don't. Well, I need a starter solenoid, and since this ominous looking figure in the background here is about to become part of two different Frankenmercs. I think we should unveil it and see if we can get lucky and find a solenoid in there. Yeah, I'm gonna try to not put my finger in the picture, but I did. Too bad. Let's unveil this thing and see what we can find. I believe this is a 1963 to 64 Merc 1000. Oops. And this has been wrapped up for a while. I wanted to keep it inside for various reasons. And I use an old bolt cover, as you can tell. You end up with a lot of those around here. All it takes is a really wicked storm and we get stuff. And what did I do wrong? Maybe I should have gone that way. And do that, because that's important. And I really have no idea how I wrapped this up, because it was a long time ago. There's that. If I look like I'm a fumbling old fool, aha, parts. All right, that's disgusting. That needs to find its way to the dumpster, I think. It served its purpose because this motor will be no more. And that is what I need. So we'll be back. And this has been just a horrible Monday. Anyway, as you can tell. So, yeah, that's the end of this. Time for part 2 of part 2. Or 3. Oh yeah, do that like thingy, if you will, please. Tells the algorithm to send it out to more people and we get more people watching us build these silly things. So I'd really appreciate that. Don't forget to subscribe too. You might find out we got all kinds of little cool projects going on here. From Mercury's to Mopars and everything in between. And not that 4-letter word Mercury thing. We don't speak that kind of language here.